1969, that was the first summer that I went to work at the Big Bar Ranger Station. And it doesn't seem like could be that long ago. Once you take a good look at that mountain is covered in what is called chaparral. It's a kind of brush that is commonly found throughout California. If you look closely, you'll notice that that's not timber, that is brush, and it just completely covers like a carpet, usually the south-facing slopes of the mountain, not only in California, but also places like Colorado. In the 4 summers that I worked for the Forest Service, I fought 15 fires. I'm going to talk about one of those fires in firefighting today. It was the second one that I fought, and it was the most dangerous of the 15 fires. But in the summer of 1971, I fought on another fire. Myself and some other men from the Big Bar Ranger Station were flown up to the state of Washington, to the Wenatchee National Forest, where we would fight. I was there for 10 days. I had to be flown back home to get ready to start school. The others stayed up for over 2 weeks. That was the largest fire that the United States had seen in about 40 years, and they made a documentary of that fire that in 1971 that was narrated by Lauren Green, the actor who used to be on Bonanza. And we got a little clip of that documentary. I'd like for you to see this, just to kind of get a little bit of an idea of what a forest fire might look like. Miracles may be in the eyes of the beholder. Miracles are supernatural events that rarely, if ever, occur. Miracles cannot be explained rationally. And if you have experienced a miracle, that you know that you have experienced one, no matter what other people may say. My story today began in mid-July of 1969. In the evening, storm clouds gathered in the west, coming in from the Pacific Ocean. The last couple of months have been really hot and dry around the Big Bar Ranger Station. The elevation of Big Bar was about 1,200 feet, not as high as sometimes we think of in mountains. We're close to the Pacific Ocean, however, so we're starting at sea level. But every summer there'd be 2 or 3 weeks where the temperature would exceed 100 degrees during the day, and the fire, or the forest would literally just kind of dry out. There was rumbling in the distance. I guess we were, for the forest's sake, we were hoping and praying for rain, but for our sake, we were hoping for fire. I know that sounds kind of like a strange thing to say. We were there to protect the national forest, but fire offered up a change of pace. It would get more money for us until a fire line was made all the way around a fire. It was considered out of control, and if it was out of control, then we were paid hazard pay, which was an extra half of our normal salary. And on a fire, you could quickly work your 40 hours that you normally would work in a week in a couple of days, and then beyond that 2 days, you begin to get an extra overtime of 25%. So on a lot of fires, you might make time and 3/4, which for a young man back in those days, that was pretty good money. So during the night, the storms came in, but there was no rain, but there was lightning, and during the night, just in our district alone, there were 17 fires that were started, and we awoke the next morning because there were so many fires, we were going to be spread pretty thin. And I was a part of a 4-person crew that was going to be sent to the Chaparral Mountain that looked a lot like that mountain there. And it got its name because of the chaparral brush that grew profusely on the south-facing slope of that mountain. And the fire would be called the Chaparral Fire itself. And so the 4 of us got into a truck. There was 3 rookies like me, and there for the very first time. And our fire boss, his name was Dave Looper. Dave shouldn't have been on the fire line. He was in his early 50s. It's actually, I think, a government policy. You're not to be on the fire line when you get over the age of 50. But Dave was really in better shape than most of the people at the ranger station, and he wanted to go, and we needed him. And so he became our fire boss as we made our way. We could drive our truck to within about a mile of the fire, and then we had to park it, and we began to traverse cross country. We started out in timber. Then pretty quickly we came to that chaparral brush. Now chaparral is, well, Wikipedia describes chaparral as low-growing trees and shrub whose branches grow together, and they use the word almost impenetrable. It is almost impossible to get through it. If you can look at that side of that mountain and see that there are no openings, there's no understory that you can walk through. You have to push your way through this brush. You literally have to climb over it or crawl underneath it, sort of pushing, if you can, with your one free hand. I was carrying a shovel in my hand, and so I had one hand free, and we were only going to go about maybe 3/4 of a mile through this stuff. We could see the smoke kind of billowing up on the backside of the mountain. We knew where the fire was. We had it located, and we were trudging, crawling through this brush to get to the crest of the mountain where we would probably begin to make a fire line. The other side of the mountain would be on the north side, and it would be covered in timber. So about 2 hours we were getting close to the crest of the mountain, and our fire boss leader, Dave, got there first, and he turned around and he yelled at us, and I'll forever remember what he said. He just said, "Get the hell down the mountain as fast as you can." And we could see that he was very worried, and his voice was filled with panic, and pretty soon we could see why. Because coming over the crest of that hill was a solid wall of flames that extended the whole crest of the mountain. This brush was just bursting and exploding in flames. Flames were reaching 40 and 50 feet high. You could literally hear trees or brush just exploding. The resin inside the wood is like a chemical that is explosive. There's a noise to a fire like that, and it sounds like the whine of a jet engine as oxygen is being sucked into this fire to feed the fire. It has kind of a whining noise, and there would be little whirlwinds of tornadoes of fire that would be swirling up, and it was just really a horrible, horrible scene, and I was worried. At our summer, in the first of the summer in June, we had our firefighting school, and they had shared with us that just a couple of summers before, there were 11 firefighters that were killed in the Los Padres National Forest in Southern California. They got caught in the chaparral brush, and the Santa Ana winds were blowing in from the desert at 60 miles an hour, and as advancing these flames, and these firefighters were caught in brush, and the fire was moving so quickly that they could not get out of the way, and all 11 of them were killed. In 1994, there was a similar kind of a fire near Glenwood Springs, Colorado, that's called the Storm King Mountain Fire, and I visited that site. There's a memorial there to 14 firefighters who were killed on that fire. I read the transcript, the official transcript of what happened to those firefighters this past week, and it's really pretty chilling to read that. Some of these are very experienced firefighters, smoke jumpers that come from other parts of the country to jump on this fire, and other hotshot crews, really well-trained firefighters. And this is a steep mountain rising above the Colorado River, and the transcript said that these firefighters were moving up the mountain, trying to get to the top of the mountain. There was a fire line that had been made a couple of days earlier, and but some embers and some sparks had blown across the fire line and landed on this dry tinder, and the fire just exploded. The transcript said that literally in a matter of seconds, not minutes but seconds, this fire just blew uphill. It caught the firefighters. They could not run uphill as fast, and there's no other means of escape. Some of the firefighters took out their asbestos tents in their backpacks, but didn't even have time to crawl into their tents. The fire just swept over them. National Geographic did a study of that fire over 10 years ago and estimated that where the bodies of the fires lay and the kind of brush that was there, they estimated that the temperature of that fire would have been approximately 2,000 degrees. Well, we could look over our shoulders and we could see the fire was coming down upon us, and it was a race. I say that loosely because you couldn't race through this stuff. It was so thick, and the branches would just interlock, and I was really filled with terror and fear like I've never felt before in my life. And in my haste to try to move as quickly as I could, I would try to lift my leg over some of these branches, and my foot would get caught in the branches, and I would trip, and I would fall, and I would fall through the brush, and the brush was tearing the shirt sleeves on my arms and gouging deep gashes in my skin. I had a backpack on, and the strap broke on my right side here, and I kept trying to take my free hand and would hold that backpack strap so I could keep the backpack. Inside that pack was an extra gallon of water, a change of clothes, 4 boxes of sea rations, a first aid kit, a jacket, and I really hated to lose that backpack, but I tried making my way down through this brush, and I would keep looking over my shoulder, and that wall of flames was just getting closer and closer and closer. And the closer it got, the louder it got, and I could just hear in the background these trees exploding, and I realized that I couldn't balance this backpack on my shoulder and try to get through the brush, so I decided to sacrifice it, and I just dropped it, and I took my free hand, and I tried pushing my way through this brush, and sometimes just crawling underneath it. And I realized my rational mind was telling me that I wasn't going to make it, that the fire was just going so fast, and I was moving so slow that it was just a matter of a few minutes before it would just go right over us, and I felt so all alone, and there's no one there to help me. So I began to pray, and it wasn't a silent prayer, it was a scream. Help us, God. God, help us. Please, God, help us. Except I was screaming that prayer at the very top of my lungs. My friends who were a little farther away, I could see them, they could see me, they could hear me. They told me that they could hear me screaming this prayer. I was so afraid that I was going to die. So ironic that I just wanted a summer job making trails in the backcountry, and now I was caught in this awful brush, and I was going to die being burned to death. And I prayed that prayer to God, and then it just seemed like suddenly the wind, the direction of the wind changed and began to move uphill. And it began to kind of blow against the fire and began to stall that fire out. And it just gave us just enough time to reach a place of safety, which was an outcropping of rocks, that we could get on those rocks and we could kind of get a better vantage point of where the fire was and where our route of escape was. And Dave radioed in for help, and reinforcements were sent. He said, this is really a potentially really bad fire, and you've got to get more people here. And so by nightfall, an extra 50 firefighters would arrive. One of those was my best friend, John Livingston. John Livingston came up that afternoon, and he was making his way through this brush like we were. And he had a gallon canteen that was filled with gasoline. That was going to be for the chainsaws. They were bringing chainsaws up with them, and the cap on that canteen didn't fit tight. And it began to drip gasoline in his backpack and sloshing around, and when he'd bend over, it would come out, and the gasoline was soaking through his backpack onto his shirt. And he realized if the fire got too close, he would just go up like a human torch. And he couldn't see us, and we couldn't see him, and we would yell at him, and he would yell back, and eventually he just became hysterical. He thought the fire was going to intercept him before he got to us, and he just began to cry with fear. But eventually he made it. He made it as well. Later that day, a helicopter would crash carrying supplies to the fires, and the pilot and the passenger were killed in that helicopter crash. And I happened to be on the radio and heard that report coming in that both those guys were killed. It was really a bad fire, and it was the most dangerous. I fought on 15 fires, but that one was by far and away the most dangerous. eventually got a fire line around that fire and contained it. But you check the fire line, and I remember in one section you couldn't get off the fire line. Fire line's like a trail because the brush is so thick. And so you really have to stay on the fire line. But then the fire is coming down, and it's coming down to the fire line. And there were places where it was right next to the fire line, and to get from point A to point B, you had to run by that part of the fire line where the fire was really close. And I remember taking as deep a breath as I could, and I would take my shovel and I'd hold the face of that shovel up to my face to shield my face from the heat of the flames, and I would run as fast as I could, and I would run by that place, and it just felt like your skin was going to melt off of your bones. It was such an intense heat. It's really something. I guess you could say I grew up that day. I came within just a few minutes of dying. And I can tell you what sheer terror feels like, and it feels bad. And though I had turned away from God, now in my great need, I turned back to God. And I prayed that God would deliver me. And he answered my prayer. And I experienced the very first miracle of my life, and I always believe that that wasn't a coincidence, that that wind changed as soon as I cried out my prayer. Others might scoff at that and say it was just a coincidence, but in my mind it was an answered prayer. That God had delivered me from the fiery furnace. He had spared my life. And that he answered my prayer was indicative of his grace. And God's grace is always unmerited. I didn't deserve it. It's always free. I wish I could tell you that my spiritual life turned around that day, that I would rededicate my life to God and I would be a different kind of a person from that moment on. But it didn't work out that way. As thankful as I was when I got back to the ranger station, I began resuming the kind of life that I had been living, which I described last week as a life as a pagan, going back to the heavy drinking and other parts of my life that were not very highly moral. Why didn't I appreciate more what God had done? Why didn't it make such a profound change that I would not be the same kind of person? To experience a miracle of grace in the face of death and then continue on again? You know, that Exodus story we read of how God was delivering the Hebrew people from slavery in Egypt, and it was miracle upon miracle. First, there was the miracle of the plagues that God inflicted upon the people through Moses. One plague after another plague, and finally the angel of death came over the city and killed all the firstborn sons of all the families of Egypt. And Pharaoh relented, and he said, "Get out of here, take the people and go." And they left, and they took everything with them. And they got as far as the sea. And then Moses changed his mind, and he sent his army after them to kill them in the desert. The mightiest army in the world at that time, thousands of chariots pursuing the Hebrew people. They came with their backs to the sea, and Moses prayed, and with his staff parted the waters, and the Hebrew people got through. And then the Pharaoh's army came, and the waters closed over again and drowned his army. The people had seen such an amazing miracle, their second major miracle now. And yet very quickly people began to grumble about their lot. Now they're wandering around the desert, and they're hungry. And though they've been delivered from Pharaoh's army, they begin to complain against God. And God provides manna from heaven, and they have plenty to eat. And they're happy for a while, then they go back to their grumbling spirits again. We're tired of bread, they said. We want meat. God provided thousands of quail that came over them, and they killed them, and they had fresh meat. And for a while they were happy and satisfied. And then they began to grumble. They got tired of eating quail. Then they grew thirsty, and they were, gosh, we had it better in Egypt than we have it out here in the desert. At least we had food in our pots to eat, and our bellies were full in Egypt. Now Moses brought us out here in the wilderness to die of thirst. And God provided fresh and clean water for them, and they had all they needed to drink and satisfy their thirst. But then the people began to complain again and grumble against the Lord. They came to the promised land, and it was filled with another race of people, and they should have defeated the Hebrews, but God provided for them again another miraculous deliverance. And yet the convince people that God cares about you and loves you and wants to help you, to deliver you. It just seemed like the Jews seemed to forget the miracles, and they grumbled against God over and over again. They just forgot all the things that God had done. One day Jesus was traveling with his disciples, and a group of 10 lepers approached them. They couldn't get close. They couldn't get closer than 60 feet to another human being. This is a horrible disease. We can't hardly imagine how bad it looked like, but it would affect people's skin, and parts of their body would just rot away off their living bodies, and they were outcasts, and they could not see their families again. They had to live on the fringes of society, and they would eventually die of this disease. And this group of 10 lepers were walking. They saw Jesus, and they heard about him, that he was a healer, and they cried out to him, "Master, have pity on us." And he did. He had pity on them. And he said, "Go show yourself to the priests. If you were considered ritually unclean, before you could be considered clean and be able to enter society, the priest had to give you kind of a stamp of approval." And so they turned and they started going to the temple to see the priest, and they were all healed. All 10 of them were miraculously cured of their leprosy. And one of them turned back, and he came back to Jesus crying and weeping, and he was so full of gratitude and thankfulness that God had healed him of this horrible disease. He threw himself down at the feet of Jesus and thanked him. And then Jesus wondered where the other 9 were. He said, "Was no one found to return and give thanks to God except this Samaritan? Where are the other 9? He wondered. How come they didn't come back? I think we know the answer to that. How many times have we been spared a horrible car accident? How many times have we recovered from a serious surgery or overcome a potentially deadly disease? How many times have we been forgiven and offered a second chance by someone that we didn't deserve? How many blessings has God bestowed upon us? How many prayers has God answered? Why is it that our spirits are not continuously filled with joy and gladness and thankfulness to God for doing all that God does? Have you truly expressed to God lately how much you love him? Yet it seems that we forget so quickly, and once our prayer request has been answered, we just kind of go back on our own way, and we begin to resume the normal life that we lived. We forget how God has been our constant friend through the difficulties of life. Have you considered lately just how much God has already done for you? If the wind hadn't changed at that last moment, I wouldn't be here today. I would never have married the love of my life, or have held my children in my hands, cradled them in my arms, and watched them grow up and have their own children. I never would have preached a sermon. I never would have seen another sunset. I would have died in the very first month of my 20th year. Why wasn't I more appreciative than I was to have been spared my life? Because I think we just tend to be a selfish people. We seek God when we want something from God, and then when we have it, we just kind of turn away and go back to the way we've been living our lives. You know, I think Jesus was